we know the legs can do what they need to do. So for this type of player, we really want to feel like, I always put my hand there and say, take your shoulder and drive it into my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Now feel like your shoulder's going to take a left-hand turn and face me with your shoulders.
Yeah, nice.
So now you're a lot more on top of it, right?
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerrod Gray here on the range today at Rolling Hills in California, standing next to Devan Bonebreak. Devan, thanks for coming along, mate.
Yeah, thanks for coming all the way out here.
So today, Devan from the Golf Fix and the Golf Channel, Director of Instruction here at this wonderful golf club. We're going to be talking all about some key elements that you can implement in your golf swing to get a little bit more compression, distance, and consistency out of your golf swing. You certainly don't want to miss out on this great content coming at you right now. So Devan, talking specifically about players in the downswing who get stuck, right?
Yeah.
So stuck meaning that in regards to the sequence of the movement in the downswing, let's say we get to the top of the swing and let's say the body rotation is out racing the movement of the arms. So by this stage of the downswing, when the club shaft is parallel to the ground, we would generally see as a reference point, the trail arm would be moving behind the seam line of the shirt here, and therefore running out of room. And there's a few ways that players would then manipulate and compensate for that.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So of recent times when working with some of your players, what's a movement, a drill, an exercise that you've been working on to rectify this?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So, I mean, I think there's different ways to get stuck. I mean, you can be stuck from being too narrow. You can stuck from obviously having the body kind of, like you said, outrace the arms and hands. Mm-hmm. You could maybe move the trail arm and hand correctly, but then add a shallow with the body. So doing different things that kind of get the club too far behind you, and you're going to have to essentially decelerate so much with the body to kind of catch that club up or catch the arms up, like you were just saying. So I like to kind of feel for a lot of my players, a lot of junior players, for instance. You know, Tiger even used to talk about this, how he'd get kind of stuck in the Olay swing and all that sort of stuff. So what I used to like to do a lot is kind of get the feeling, just like everything else, right? Feel versus real, of the downswing for players that get really aggressive with their lower body, maybe their upper body, almost like too much disassociation, you know, stuff that maybe we at our mid 30s now or early 30s, I won't age you, you know, don't struggle with anymore. But basically trying to feel like the upper body is catching up to the lower body. And so I like to have players put the club on their shoulders and feel like as they start down that they're going to kind of like trace their toe line down into the left. They're going to feel like the lead shoulder really kind of goes down, almost like a body compression kind of feel, and like it's going to go left. And it's going to look at the finish like your upper body's in front. But most people that get stuck, I mean, they're going to be like way this way coming through. So it really kind of gets rid of any excess shallowing with the body at impact.
Yeah, so if I was standing facing the camera in this direction, just going through that reference again, I would get to the top, and this getting stuck movement that we're talking about would be really when the body is out racing what the arms
and especially with this shoulder kind of going up too early, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I think a lot of the fact that this foot is getting so much pressure coming down isn't just like your legs are putting pressure into the ground, but it's your upper body's putting pressure into your legs. So it's like you're trying to put pressure with your upper body down into that lead foot, which is going to help a lot for the club not getting too shallow too early, at least with the body.
Yeah, we see this a lot with junior players. Now, this is all time and place because at the end of the day, there are a lot of players who from the top of the swing don't get stuck, and they do make this aggressive movement with the upper body down. So this video is not really for every golfer out there. It's for players who have identified that getting stuck is a movement that they're trying to rectify out of their golf swing.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's a large percent of people where feeling the upper body would be terrible for them. Like, actually, you'd think that this was the worst video of all time because it would make them worse, right? It's like I'm slicing it twice as much, my divots are twice as deep. But you got to understand your impact. Is it a shallow impact? Are you hitting a lot of pushes? Is it hard to compress the ball? Okay. This might be good for you. Yeah. You know, are you hitting big draws sometimes more so than you want? This is great. And understanding how to get that path correctly to be maybe a little, for the right-handed golfer, a little more left, a little steeper, but not necessarily just always doing it with the club itself. I mean, the body is going to affect the club, and the club's going to affect the body. Yeah.
So why don't we I'm going to sit up to this stick from the face-on view here, and we're actually going to kind of highlight where the, let's say, stuck position at the moment of impact for a player who is struggling with this. We would generally see that the hips would be forward and out racing the arms.
Yes.
Now, I want you to move me into a common position that you would see as well. What else have we got here? We got.
I mean, I usually see a lot of like really high lead shoulder, you know, from the other angle, but you can kind of see it here. I'd see this knee kind of getting way out.
Oh, yeah.
a lot of early extension.
Oh yeah.
And then usually this kind of causes a little stand up too, because, you know, if you're dumping it like that, or if this arm's, let's say, super straight at that point, you know, you're trying to get that radius to be a little bit, you know, longer to have that space so you don't just chunk it. So we're kind of trying to change that, right? We're trying to feel the opposite of that. So go ahead and take your setup. Go ahead and go back. Now, we know the legs can do what they need to do. So for this type of player, we really want to feel like, I always put my hand there and say, take your shoulder and drive it into my hand. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Now feel like your shoulder's going to take a left-hand turn and face me with your shoulders.
Yeah, nice.
So now you're a lot more on top of it, right? And you're doing a great job now. Your trail elbow's kind of in front of your hand. The club's a little bit behind your hands. And so now you can rotate very well into the ball versus, you know, obviously if beforehand the club's steep, that's generally what's going to cause the body to want to do that. So you kind of got to figure out, like, cause and effect. Why are they kind of getting stuck and why are they doing it with their body? Or is it just more of like the club's in the wrong spot?
We do see that one of the main reasons, especially in my coaching, that players do get stuck is because of an error, usually in the takeaway, in the backswing, a little bit too much overrun at times. So
kind of getting behind them sometimes.
Getting behind them, right? We can see a breakdown of structure of this lead arm. And then one of the key positions that I really like to evaluate with players and get them a better understanding of where the recreational golfer who struggles with this relative to a professional, we would see that the hands would be quite higher and behind the body, right? You can see that this trail arm is moved back and behind the seam line of the shirt here. Whereas the professional by this stage, if we were just keeping the body in the same position, the hands would be lower to the ground, the trail arm would be moving more in front, and therefore time and place with the sequence, the handle will start to get this shuffling.
100%.
So why don't we, I'll get you stand over here, and I'm just going to get that feeling from the top relative to where I would be, because occasionally I myself get a little bit stuck in the fact that my body does move quite quickly. Trail arm might get behind, and I struggle occasionally with a bit of a block cut. So I'm going to get up to the top, and I'm going to feel this move that you're talking about, this lead shoulder moving down.
Yes.
Is there a reference where I go, okay, I'm trying to push down into the lead ball of my foot? Where should my pressure in my feet be?
I love that. Lead ball of the foot, middle of the foot. I think that that's excellent. It's almost like this is causing the pressure to be made. So I want you to feel like it's almost starting from the top of the swing, like your shoulder's starting the downswing. This is adding flex. You're adding a little dorsiflex there, kind of getting better in that ankle. And then from there, then you can kind of start to push up and around with that left hip and kind of in with that. I think getting this knee to work this way is a big deal too. I see a lot of guys that early extend and get stuck, kind of go out, kind of flattens that pelvis, and they get real upright with their spine.
Tough to control contact when we're doing that.
For sure.
So if I was doing some rehearsals, and it's always good to exaggerate when you're doing this move, am I just doing almost swinging to the top and then stopping when the lead arm is parallel in the downswing here?
I think it depends on how much you want to tie it together and how much you think, is it the body making the arms get behind you, or is it just like the arms in a sense are too slow? So you could even add in, like, you know, some right arm stuff where, you know, you might go back, if you had the club there, you might kind of go back and, you know, as you feel that shoulder come down, you might feel like your elbow's kind of trying to cross the center line of your torso, almost like it's kind of getting in front of your belly button, try to get that to link up. Or it might just be the fact that your, you know, body was way too fast, and that's why your arm looks stuck. It's not even necessarily stuck. I've noticed that a lot with players.
That's great. So I think that feeling will work really well for a lot of players, is making from the address position to the top all the way down until the shaft
I like it
is
to
level.
there, and feeling like the lead shoulder is still lower than the trail shoulder, which is totally the opposite of what you see with people that are generally stuck.
Yeah, and just from that little move there, you can see lead shoulder gets high,
what are you
head
going to
gets
do from
behind
there,
the
right?
hands. You've got all this movement there. So we'll do one more from this angle here. We're going to swing to the top, this recentering move.
Yeah, there you go.
Down into that
like
position.
This is low, and I'll even go here, and I'll try to resist people. So I'll try to say, resist me. So if I'm going like this, he's trying to resist me. He's putting pressure kind of more this way, and then that way, when I'm not putting any pressure on him, he's really going to want to feel that motion. We're kind of intensifying the feelings of the muscles of what they need to do, how they need to contract, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, great. Let's put this all together.
Let's put it together, man.
So,
make me look good here.
We're going to look for some nice compression here based on what Devan said. We're going to do this nice little recentering move. Shoulders feel more level by the time.
And I love how your trail arm is right in front of your right hip.
Yeah, it just
happens.
happens.
It's not getting behind you. And it's easier, right? You're more in front of it. You have more room. Exactly right.
All right, let's put it all together.
There we go. Looking good.
Nice little divot.
Great divot, especially into the grain Bermuda. Not the easiest thing to hit off of. So excellent work. But that was a lot better with getting that lead shoulder down, not getting the arms to get so far behind you, and obviously able to hit down on a little bit better and have a little more shaft lean.
Love it.
Excellent work,